Personal heroism is not worth it. Yuzhi Boqi believes that as long as most people in my village have the surname Yuzhi Bo, then whoever the Hokage in my village is must have the surname Yuzhi Bo Uchiha. Do you want to dance with our 100,000 Uchiha people? On the face of your surname Yuzhibo, let me introduce you. Keywords of the novel. Kiba Ninja Realm, except Uchiha Justice's Group Assault Bar no pop-up window. Kiba Ninja Realm, except Uchiha Justice's Group Assault Bar TXT complete collection download. Kiba Ninja Realm, except Uchiha Justice's Group Assault Bar latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. 01 The bustling wooden leaves do not have a place for Uchiha. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 101 The bustling wooden leaves do not have a place for Uchiha. In the summer of the 47th year of the Kiba era, 10 years had passed since the Second Ninja War, and the 5 major ninja villages, each curled up to lick their wounds, became increasingly restless. Time seems to be the best healing medicine in the world, even during the brutal Second World War. As long as 10 years of stability, everyone can forget the pain she brought. At this moment, the dissatisfaction among the major ninja villages towards the outcome of the previous war grew stronger and stronger. The victorious villages felt that their demands were too lenient, while the defeated villages felt that the unjust treaties weighing on them were like mountains that should be overthrown. The survivors of the older generation who survived the war are now in high positions, and they want to use their remaining time to bring more long-term peace and living space to Ninja Village in one breath. The new generation of young people also aspire to make achievements on the battlefield and become heroes admired by thousands of people. Under such a trend of thought, looking around, all ninja villages appear vibrant. This situation is not subject to personal will. Whether you are willing or not, as long as one village begins to act for those other villages cannot fail to respond. And this situation, at the beginning, seemed so comedic. Just because the third generation eyes of Kiba have become the strongest Hokage, every village is also singing the history of the strongest Hokage that belongs exclusively to their own village, the strongest AB combination, the strongest wind shadow, the strongest earth shadow, 2 heavenly scales, big wildwood, and so on. It's hard to understand who their so-called strongest is actually benchmarking against. But this also indicates that all ninjas are full of confidence in their own ninja village. So the ninja, a profession that believed in forbearance, never did anything about it again after gaining powerful power. Local conflicts continue to erupt, but this kind of outbreak is very interesting and even has a good understanding. The scale of the conflict is controlled within the acceptable range that everyone thinks is acceptable from beginning to end. All Nanamura's films feel that this small-scale conflict is not a life and death war, but a process of showcasing means. They all understand in their hearts that conflict is just about dividing high and low, and war is about dividing life and death. But how can such a playful battle that doesn't distinguish between life and death be easily achieved? So bleeding was inevitable. But these are not important. Personal sacrifices seem insignificant for the interests of the entire ninja village. Importantly, through these conflicting processes, each ninja village has given birth to its own heroes. Just like at this moment, my village is full of cheers, and the villagers are like a holiday, everyone is in a frenzy. Because today is the day for their hero to return to the village, they are spontaneously welcoming the hero of their own village back. That hero is the ninja who emerged from the common people, the pride of Kiba village, and the golden flash of Kiba's wave wind and water gate. As the village grew larger, there were naturally everyone around, and there was a place in the world of ninjas called Bo Feng Shui men. However, there were still people among the ordinary people in Kiba who did not know him. Some have heard of it but haven't seen it before, and some have not even heard of it. This can also be understood. After all, many years later, the famous Sannin returned to the village and most villagers did not know him. But today is different. Whether you used to know Bo Feng Shui Gate or not, from now on, as a wooden leaf person, you will definitely know him. Because in the crowd, there are always people who promote the great achievements of the Feng Shui Gate to those who do not know them. So all the Kiba people heard about it. I heard that he just repelled the AI and Killer Bee duo from Yunin Ninja Village. That's the future Thunder Shadow candidate, and this record adds a lot of color to the resume of Bufeng Shuimen. I heard he is still a strong competitor for the 4th generation. Who doesn't know, the future shadow of Lei Ying must be AI, and our future 4th generation is stronger than the future 4th generation of Yunin Ninja Village. Does that mean that our Mai is stronger than Yunin? It is also said that major ninja villages acknowledge the power of the Golden Flash and can voluntarily give up missions when encountering him, which is something that few people can achieve. Moreover, this Bofeng Shui Men is still a commoner ninja from the village, with the same identity as such people, making all villagers proud. As if Bofeng Shui Men were common ninjas, they were also common people, so the achievements that Bofeng Shui Men can achieve can also be achieved by them. In short, today we are all Bofeng people. Of course, how much of this is a cheer with a sense of identity, and how many may not even care about this sense of identity, just simply joining in the fun and finding a reason to have a grand gathering is unknown. In short, there seemed to be a pair of big hands stirring up the emotions of the entire Kiba village, and this emotion pushed the reputation of the Wei Feng Shui Gate to its peak. The joys and sorrows in this world are always different, and there is always a place that seems out of place with the world. Yu Zhibo stood on the roof of the remote corner outside his home, staring coldly at everything in front of him. It's not that he has any objections to the Feng Shui Gate, but seeing its long-standing reputation makes Qi very happy. Just living in this world, there are always many things that you have to do. Even if you travel through time and become a character in a comic world, losing everything from your previous life, the involuntary nature of being human still accompanies you. The entire Uchiha clan is completely out of place in the village, while the elder at the head of Uchiha's house, although not very old, only in his teens, represents the 200 or so Uchiha clan members behind him. Every glance and smile of himself will be interpreted excessively by those with intentions. Under such circumstances, how can I easily express my emotions? When you are not alone and need to take responsibility for one side of the Uchiha family led by yourself. Every word and action makes me inevitably cautious. This is why the young man in front of me is becoming more mature. Yuzhibo Qi is not the clan leader of Yuzhibo, he is just a head of a house. The clan leader is still Yukibo Fuyue, the father of Yukibo Itachi. At this moment, there are over 800 people in the entire Uchiha clan, not including Uchiha Kai. Except for those with brain problems like Tutu and Ji Shui who participated in this carnival, everyone else was disgusted like eating mouse droppings. After all, Yuzhibo's authority comes from the security team of Kiba, and the responsibility of the security team is to maintain the security of the village. This large-scale group gathering clearly has security issues. The regulations of the police force clearly state that such gatherings require advance reporting. Even the intelligent Uchiha understood that such a large-scale gathering was definitely not initiated on the spot, it was definitely organized in advance. But the Kiba guard not only failed to receive advance notice, but also suddenly saw so many people on the street on the day of the rally, only then did they know what would happen today. That's okay, after all, it's not the first time. Back then, these people also welcomed my Baya so much. Initially, due to this incident, the Uchiha and Chimu clans had a very unpleasant quarrel. But it doesn't matter, because the Uchiha clan has never had a happy time with any of the ninja clans of Kiba, including Chihiro. But what about this? The first Haozu in the tolerance world should look like the first Haozu in the tolerance world. How can they associate with insects? Yu Zhibo is not disgusted by this, it is the elders of Mai who are disgusted. On the day of the incident, one of the two Hokage advisors came forward to demand that the security forces maintain good order, otherwise they would be held accountable. Another person came forward and demanded that the security forces should not interfere with spontaneous gatherings organized by the masses or go against the will of the villagers. Is this a bit too bullying? Although the capable members of our Uchiha family are all lunatics, lunatics are not equivalent to fools. Are your Hokage advisors a bit too insincere about our Uchiha? The attitude of Kiba village is what makes the whole Uchiha sick. Kiba bullying people is no longer limited to means. Now the entire Uchiha clan, along with the Uchiha Chi lineage, consists of over 1,000 people. The only two fools who can participate in this gathering are the two idiots, one of whom is called Jishue and can even fight. He has already achieved the title of Instant Jishue. The only two remaining ones who can maintain an expressionless expression are clan elders Yuzhi Bo and elder Yuzhi Boqi. Just Yuzhi Bo's expressionless face was because he pinned Yuzhi Bo's hope on the future. He believed that as long as he endured 3 generations of dark rule and worked hard to establish a good relationship with anyone who had the potential to become a 4th generation Hokage in the future, Yuzhi Bo could truly integrate into the village sooner or later. Whether it's Bofeng Shui Men, Dashi Maru, or Zi Lai, they are all within the friendly range of Yuzhi Bo. Gangsho doesn't count. This most legitimate heir is actually the most illegitimate and inauspicious. The specific reason is not clear to Fuyue. In short, it can be judged based on her surname without Chinsho, and she must also have secrets. Although the secret is unknown, there will always be some dirty things in big families. Another ninja who has lost their heir and lost their entire family in the village is not worth investing in by Uchiha. From this, it can be seen that this hawkish-looking Uchiha Fuyue, who has a sitting posture on his face, is a dove-like person with a secure heart, and his surrenderism is full of inner strength. Fortunately, he has a skilled balance and is quite clever. Otherwise, if we had known earlier that he was such a person, Yuzhi Bo might have thought that most Yuzhi Bo didn't want him to take over. Unfortunately, his face and voice were too deceptive. He has an aggressive expression when he doesn't open his mouth. He feels like if you don't agree to his request, he will be burning with you. In the historical environment of that time, Uchiha needed a tough clan leader too much. At that time, facing the rebellion of Uchiha and the suppression of Hokage, the weak Uchiha clan finally engaged in a civil war amidst dissatisfaction. Although this battle gave birth to a major forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan, specifically designed to counter the Izanami of Izanami, the Dovehawk faction suffered heavy losses, and even in the eyes of other ninja tribes in Kiba, Uchiha lost his title as the top powerful family in Kiba. The Hinata family has now ascended to power. This is the battle between Izanami and Izanagi in the history of Uchiha. Also known as the Battle of Nara and the Yellow Spring. Yuzhibo does not recognize the fact that he is no longer the top clan. What is the largest family in the Woodleaf industry? Wrong, we are the #1 powerhouse in the ninja world. The Uchiha clan, eager to regain their glory, urgently needs a tough clan leader to handle everything. So Fuyue, who was born with a big brother face, rose to power like this. All Uchiha is ready, under the leadership of this tough guy, to once again promote Uchiha's reputation in the realm of ninja. Even if it means sacrificing one's life for it. Who knew that after this big brother took office, he always put on the toughest posture and engaged in compromising activities with each other. He can compromise on anything for the survival and continuation of his tribe. This is completely different from what many Uchiha thought. If it weren't for the art of compromise by the clan chief, which not only pacified might but also benefited Uchiha, everyone would have rebelled long ago. In this situation, Uchiha Fuyue also made the position of the clan leader more and more stable. And he also felt that sooner or later he would reintegrate into the big family of Kiba with Uchiha. And this opportunity is the abdication of the 3rd generation and the appointment of the 4th generation with the support of Uchiha. At that time, Yuzhi Bo would never face injustice again. Fuyue firmly believes in this. After all, as a young and strong chieftain, I can't survive 3 generations. Are you a terrible old man? Time is the most fair, my advantage lies in me. For such a clan leader, Yuzhi Chi is grateful. Thanks to his indecisive personality and his ability to shift blame. Otherwise, I wouldn't have risen so smoothly myself. If this person is decisive, the original Yuzhi Boqi will be given in vain. Thinking of this, Yuzhi Boqi, who pretended to have a facial paralysis, was naturally not as good as Yuzhi Bo, who was born with a facial paralysis. He finally laughed. The laughter was not loud, but it drew hostility from the surrounding Uchiha. Everyone is here to suffer a great deal for the injustice of Muye. You, an elder of Uchiha, are actually smiling. What do you mean? Is this your own meaning, or is it the meaning of your lineage? Many Uchiha's gaze turned to Uchiha-chi, which carried various different meanings of scrutiny. Yuzhi Boqi doesn't think much of it. Over the years, he has seen through a lot. The advantage of being a big shot is that there will always be someone to come out and solve your problems. The leader of the IGA group, Uchiha no Miki, is skilled at sharing the worries of your leaders. Master Chi, has something good happened? Laughing so happily. Her identity and position under Chi's command were not abrupt when asked. On the surface, it was a casual conversation between the leader's most trusted subordinate and the leader, but in reality, it was an opportunity for the leader to explain her impolite behavior in public to the tribe. Human beings are ultimately social creatures. Chi also seemed to have thought of something even funnier. Fantasy, guess at this moment, Yuzhi Village is also holding a grand welcome ceremony to welcome their heroes, AI, and the killer bee. I just don't know if there are any unlucky people there like us, Yu Zhibo. The conversation between the two was not very loud, but the ninja's hearing was already far beyond that of an ordinary person. Even ordinary people who have not heard of it will still be informed by ninjas who have heard of it. After a brief silence, the entire Uchiha clan burst into laughter. This laughter made the dark forces monitoring the dynamics of the Uchiha clan feel inexplicable. But Yuzhi Boqi disappeared into the crowd amidst laughter. Hey, I'm still too weak. I actually need to consider the thoughts of my clan members. This is not enthusiastic at all. It's time to draw another wave of cards and expand my own team. Recommended ticket, bring it. You really don't understand war, do you? War doesn't happen suddenly, it has its causes and consequences, it's just because an event ignites it and turns it into a world war. There was no conflict before this. End of this chapter. Chapter 202. In the American Pupil War, only those who use cheats are allowed to participate in the war. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 202. In the American Pupil War, only those who use cheats are eligible to participate in the war no matter in which world, no matter how beautiful the ideology is promoted, the fact is that weakness is original sin. Yuzhi Boqi walked around casually, pondering the comparison of his current strength with that of Fuyue and Mai. Accompanied by 3 powerful ninjas from Uchiha as guards, the size of this escort group was lower than that of the 5 members directly under the Hokage guard, as well as the 4 members of Fuyue who had not been escorted and started to take care of them. Judging by the number of people, they won, but judging by the quality, they still won. The 3 ninjas around Chi must at least have the same level of strength as the elite ninjas. When encountering the presence of first-level shadow strength, one can also force 5 or 5 to open. This shows how much Chi is afraid of death. Although in the world of Hokage, strength is not distinguished by the above ninja, the middle ninja, and the lower ninja. Many lower ninja are strong. But there is a power system that can always make people see more clearly. Among the 3 members of the Kai Guard, at least 2 of them are not Yu Zhibo at all, but those eyes cannot deceive anyone. Because they are not serious Uchiha, they are just subordinates entrusted to Chi by Uchiha's cheat. Chi has a simple cheat card. The green card is for the lower ninja, with the addition of single hooked jade, the blue card is for the middle ninja, with the addition of double hooked jade, the purple card is for the upper ninja, with the addition of 3 hooked jade, and the orange card is for the shadow, with the addition of a kaleidoscope. Because Kai is Uchiha, these ninjas came out with a pair of Uchiha's eyes. This actually makes these real people, who have transformed from paper figures, have even stronger abilities. And they are not constant in strength, they can be cultivated, it's just that the strength of the card limits their upper limit. For example, with a green card, the upper limit is only slightly higher than the tolerance of the dark side, so it doesn't even deserve a name. Chi can only ask them to take Uchiha as their surname and give themselves a name. Purple cards and above are only worthy of having names, who would say they were originally prominent characters. 10 consecutive draws per round will result in 1 purple card. Chi has been in this world for almost 2 years now, drawing a total of 240, not a single orange card. I estimate that this orange card requires 100 consecutive draws at once to possess. But time does not allow, and the tense situation in the village always makes Chi feel uneasy at all times. Chi really doesn't have time to endure not drawing cards for a year, in order to save up 100 consecutive summoning scrolls. Nowadays, it has improved a lot. After 10 consecutive draws, Chi finally has 20 already prominent upper ninjas, combined with a pair of 3-legged jade riding will eyes, ensuring the existence of elite upper ninjas. This has also become Chi's confidence. Regardless of his own strength, with the presence of more than 20 absolute elite upper ninjas, 60 middle ninjas, and over 100 lower ninjas, regardless of whether other Yukibo servers are convinced or not, Yukibo Chi has become the first person in the entire Yukibo clan under the rule of Yukibo Fuyue. Unfortunately, although such a force can be called powerful, it cannot be called invincible, otherwise I would not have been subordinate to the Yuzhi Fuyue. Not to mention, the strength far surpasses that of the Uchiha clan's Kiba. Although Baiya had already committed suicide, Gungata also left Muye behind due to his fear of blood, at least in name, but at this moment, Kiba still possesses the shadow-level combat power of Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Shuemen, Sandai, and others, as well as strong players like Mike Dai who pay a permanent price to obtain a certain amount of shadow-level strength for a certain period of time. There are also things like stopping water, which can hold back the existence of a shadow by relying on family bloodline and secret techniques. They should have been the trump cards of various ninja tribes, but are willing to be the lackeys of Hokage. Yuzhi Boqi believes that if there is such a presence in the Yuzhi Bo family, then all the major ninja tribes of Kiba should have such a presence. If someone's family doesn't have it, it only means that their family is very weak, and Huiying is too lazy to bother with you. The ninja tribe with traitors is the great ninja tribe, and the ninja tribe with a single heart is the endangered ninja tribe. Well, like the Chimu family. It's true that Hokage's methods are not to be underestimated, the whole extraordinary Yuri. So Chi gathered the most powerful subordinates around him as guards, and there was no way he could do it. Who made him just a cannon fodder with only medium endurance strength at first sight. He was really afraid of death. The escort team of Chi can be described as strong enough to be abnormal. Firstly, the old woman who looked like an old lady, named Yuzhi Bo, was the leader of the Igo Hidden Society and knew how to use all ordinary ninjutsu. Chi felt that when this old lady was young, she had the power of ordinary shadows, but now she doesn't have many old teeth. Attributes: Ninjutsu S+, Body Art C, Illusion Art S+. Yuzhi Bo, the granddaughter of Yuzhi Bo, is the future leader of the IGA clan. She is a useless individual in magic, ninjutsu, and illusion, but possesses a pair of magic-breaking pupils that can crack any ninjutsu. Attribute: Ninjutsu F, Body Art F, Illusion Art F. Don't look down on her just because of her attributes. She is a talented player with the strongest support and built that IN cheats. Her innate ability to break the illusion of the pupils gave her riding will eyes a blue pattern, which was once considered a new pair of kaleidoscopes by Uchiha Fuyue. And it's the kind with strong abilities. Yuzhi Boqi estimated that Yuzhi Bo Fuyue's misunderstanding should be that the clan chief, who already had a kaleidoscope Sharingan, used his own Sharingan to understand the situation of this foreign clan member in the face of Yuzhi Bo with different pupils. But I realized that I had been banned from magic, which led to this misunderstanding. That's right, the hazy Sharingan comes with a forbidden demon. So, Uchiha became a powerful and limitless member of the powerful clan who opened the kaleidoscope writing will I. And Yuzhi Bo Fuyue also blocked this message, just like he blocked the information that he had opened a kaleidoscope. Although Chi couldn't understand his purpose, it didn't prevent Uchiha from becoming a nuclear weapon for Uchiha Chi to deter Fuyue. Furthermore, it should be understood that this type of nuclear deterrence can only be used for deterrence, and it is best not to use it lightly. Because Obscure is a waste of love brain, with all his thoughts focused on his lover Yuji Yoshinobu. In her mind, now everyone is under the command of Lord Chi, and the IGA clan no longer needs to fight against the Kaga clan. In a few years, she will be able to marry the Kaga clan's Shinji Suke, so Obuchi has no intention of becoming an excellent ninja. Her ability may seem powerful, already powerful enough to turn a powerful ninja into a waste, but in terms of her strength, if she fights alone, even if the other party is a waste, she can die at the hands of the other party without hesitation with her even more useless self. So, although she is now the guardian of Chi, only Chi himself knows who is protecting whom. What a delicate nuclear weapon. Looking at Yuzhi Boqi, who was innocent, romantic, gentle and weak in purchasing tricolor meatballs, Chi's heart was filled with silence. At least you are also a purple card, why are you not even as good as a green card? Chi sighed silently in his heart. The last guard is the chubby Yuzhi Boqi. One of the 10 members of Uchiha, with fat skin and thick flesh, but with agile mobility, proficient in the technique of expansion. The unique flesh bag technique can float in the air like a balloon, and physical attacks are ineffective against it. It's like a member of the Autumn Road tribe with a pair of riding will eyes. Due to his appearance, the legitimate Chodao clan in my village have recently been fighting a lawsuit against Yu Zhibo. Even the chieftains of the Chodao clan have presented their secrets to prove that during the Warring States period, there was a person named Chodao who eloped with Yu Zhibo, in order to promote the kinship and legitimacy of the Chodao clan towards Yu Zhibo Zhangzhu. Their attitude is extremely tough, even willing to offend Uchiha. After all, having a pair of riding will eyes that are reasonable, compliant, legal, and have no side effects is something that any ninja tribe hopes to achieve. However, Uchiha women never marry out, so no ninja tribe has ever achieved this goal. If the eyes of the Uchiha clan do not have Uchiha's bloodline, it is a burden. Now I finally have the opportunity, not to mention a depressed Uchiha who was suppressed everywhere, but what about the Uchiha who intimidated the ninja world when Uchiha was still there? For the sake of family evolution and strength, the pig deer butterfly is no longer afraid. Perhaps more importantly, the expansion technique of Yuzhi Boqi and the doubling technique of the Autumn Dao clan are too similar to one system, and the secret technique of the clan cannot be leaked. And the expansion technique of Yuzhi Bo Zhangzhu is easy to activate, has obvious effects, and has no side effects. Such a family secret technique must be recycled. The Chodao clan has a well-founded and detailed record, and even pulled out a 100-year-old resident of the clan to prove this matter. If it weren't for Yuzhi Boqi knowing where his subordinates came from, he might have believed it. So absurd things were born, and Yuzhi Bo Zhangzhu became an Autumn Taoist of the Yuzhi Bo family, and the Autumn Taoist even fought for Yuzhi Bo Zhangzhu's marriage rights. I don't know what Yuzhi Bo Fuyue, who betrayed the interests of his tribe, gained. It seems that Fuyue has become accustomed to compromise. What's the use of compromising with a family that was like the Monkey Flying Clan and the Horse Boy during the Warring States period? At a critical moment, Chodao said he would help you, but in the eyes of Yuzhi Boqi, anyone with intelligence knows about the help at that time. His Chodao clan dares to say it, and he himself cannot believe it. This matter is not only causing distress for Yuzhi Boqi, but also for the chubby Yuzhi Boqi. Zhangzhu has a very good personality, he is a quite generous man, and his strength is also at the level of upper ninja. He is a natural nemesis for physical ninjas, and now he has a pair of 3-hook jade riding will eyes, which further enhances his strength. He is definitely an elite in upper ninja. But he is lascivious and somewhat careless. Although he is overweight, he definitely doesn't want to marry a chubby girl from the Autumn Dao clan. Since this incident, he has been afraid that one day when he goes out, he will suddenly be beaten and taken home as a breeding pig. Although he was immune to most of the physical damage, he was born with useless illusions. Therefore, Yuzhi Bo Zhangzhu spontaneously became the guardian of Yuzhi Bo Qi, mixing with Qi every day. Even if he is not included in the guard's organization, he still needs to bring his own dry rations to work. After all, attacking an ordinary Uchiha and attacking an elder of the Uchiha clan are two different things. Even if you need to hang out with the IGA clan, you, as a Kage clan, are willing to do whatever it takes. Marrying a beautiful woman is the way I, Yuzhi Bozangsuk, endure. The above is the escort team of Qi. With their protection, Qi's safety is not a problem. Once a hazy spell is cast, the physical immune assistance sweeps through everything. Grandma Yuzhi Bohuan basically doesn't need to take any action, just stay by Qi's side to check for deficiencies and make up for them, and then chat with him. A small scale attack, in the face of such a combination, is as fragile as those famous soldiers who put down their hoes and picked up their weapons. It is simply unbeatable. And there are more than 20 ninjas like them under Qi's command. So, with the opening of the one-bar pattern writing will I, Yuzhi Bo Qi is weak and weak, just like a trumpet just out of the novice village. But still no one dares to disrespect him in person. It can be said that in this ninja world where the strong are revered, although Qi is only a barely qualified cannon fodder. But walking on the land of leaves, no matter what other people think in their hearts, their behavior is to respectfully salute and then dodge aside to make way. Darkness, what about the roots? What, Lord Tuanzang, please take a trip. Rolling Duzi, if you have something to do, let Tuanzang tell me face. Face. He is the leader of the root, and I, Yuzhi Boqi, am still the captain of my guard. How many teachers at the root dare to talk to me like this? A group of mice that cannot be seen. When I have ninjas above orange, I will sooner or later overthrow you. This is the confidence of Yuzhi Boqi, who has a cheat card for drawing cards. This is the courage of Yuzhi Boqi to be arrogant in this world. Because of this cheat, everyone can't figure it out. Even the powerful Uchiha Tansho is a qualified elder, and if not, Tansho's lover Uchiha Huan is also a qualified leader. Although she is a woman, the powerful Uchiha woman also has a voice. For example, the development of Izanami by Uchiha Yuri, although it ended the civil war of the Uchiha clan and caused many members of the clan to die in internal friction, also resulted in his own death. But because of her strength, even if she is a woman or a sinner, the Uchiha clan still reveres her. But why? Why do these new Uchiha people, despite their strong presence, respectfully call the orphan named Qi an adult? This is really puzzling. Especially for the 2 or 3 kittens of the Uchiha Jishue team, when they see Qi, their hearts are extremely unbalanced. Compared to the strength of their leader Jishue, Qi is a presence that has been instantly killed. At a similar age, when someone opens their door, they are a vast group of people, powerful and prosperous, making all the people of their tribe proud. The position of Elder Qi was not even obtained through clan chiefs. Mastering 1/5 of the population of Uchiha, and 100% being one of the ninja's lineage of enlightenment, regardless of whether Fuyue is willing or not, there must be a position for enlightenment in the clan council, and it should be the first position on Fuyue's left side. To put it bluntly, in terms of the number of ninjas, if other Uchiha do not unite under the leadership of the Toyama clan leader, they have no right to engage in dialogue with Kai. After all, not every member of the population of 800 is a ninja. There are only 300 to 400 ninjas that Uchiha Fuyue can mobilize. On the other hand, at the same age, although Jishue also has the qualification to participate in the clan association, it participates with its own strong strength. Speaking of which, it is also a lineage of Uchiha, and there have been second-generation Hokage disciples like Uchiha Mirror in our ancestors, Hokage guardians, and powerful competitors of Hokage, who hold high positions of power. But now there is not even a seat for an elder. This makes the hearts of the kittens in this lineage feel congested. There are no elders in this lineage, and it seems that the leader of their own family, Lord Jishue, doesn't really care about themselves. No one strives for their own rights in the clan association. Do they still expect good things to come to their own homes? Lord Jishue, who has great love, loves the entire village, and these 2 or 3 kittens are just a member of the village. Whoever it is, no one is psychologically unbalanced. So the people of the Jishue lineage are very close to the orphans who are also nominally part of the Chi lineage. The closeness of this relationship is purposeful, and they want to figure out how Chi recruited so many wandering Yuzhibo. After all, they really can't figure it out. It's just that Chi, who comes from an orphan background, has no right to become an adult who leads a strong existence with weak strength. This is unfair. But how did they know that the world has never been fair? If you want to survive in a passionate fan, you either have a good background, lack passion, or just cheat. Like Jishue, who comes from Yuzhibo but has a heart towards Hokage, the Yuzhibo mirror lineage is both facial paralysis and bloodless. Sooner or later, they will be killed by the plot. And I'm different, I'm cheating. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. 03 Ancestral Wrongs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 303 Ancestral Wrongs. For the purposeful closeness of the Uchiha Jishue people, Uchiha Chi does not care at all. The so-called Big Tree of Life, when viewed from bottom to top, is all buttocks, but when viewed from top to bottom, it is all smiling faces. Compared to the current situation of the Jishue Meridian, the situation of the Yuzhi Boqi Meridian is simply not too good. So, in Chi's view, no matter what they think, they must put on a friendly smile when facing Chi. And Yuzhi Boqi's attitude towards them depends entirely on his mood. Whether it's the warmth in a good mood or the scolding in a bad mood, they must accept it, but they don't even have the courage to refuse. Because no one will stand up for them. Who calls them a generation of people who cannot integrate into the village and are not liked by their people? There's no way, it's all the sins created by our ancestors. As a descendant of the Zhibo realm, as a Yuzhibo, he is intertwined with Hokage, attempting to integrate his tribe into the village through love, which is simply absurd. The proud Uchiha clan has never wanted you to love me, but you to be afraid of me and you to respect me. Moreover, what Yuzhibo mirror pursues is not to make Yuzhibo love the village, but to make Yuzhibo love the village. We, Yuzhi Bo, have all abandoned our clan leader Yuzhi Bo Ban and chose to stay in the village. Such behavior is not called love, what is it? We are just too proud to say anything. Since we have all achieved this, it's time for the village to love us. The Uchiha people feel that they have put in so much effort but have not received any return, and their psychology is unbalanced. The naive Uchiha mirror also deludes Uchiha into giving more. Those who have been in love know that the reason why you cannot leave a scumbag or a scumbag may be because the sunk cost you have paid is too high. Once there is no result, you will be very unwilling. Now Yuzhibo is very unwilling. You, as someone of your own, actually want Yuzhibo to give more. A safe PUA. Although the Uchiha clan may not be as transparent as expected, the general meaning is this situation. Unfortunately, most of the time, the opinions of the masses and leaders are at odds. What the masses want is rationality, fairness, and self-interest. If it cannot be done, then the young man will be angry, blood splattered in 5 steps, and the world will be plain. But the leaders have to consider how Yuzhibo will survive after leaving the village, how to respond to the village's retaliation, and how to properly resettle the clan members. If it cannot be achieved, then we can only continue to stay in the village. Since we want to stay in the village, we can only find a way to integrate into the village. So Yuzhi Bo's actions were privately endorsed by the clan leader at the time, meaning that considering the thoughts of the clan members, I cannot openly support you, but I will not interfere with your actions. Such private support is unknown and unacceptable to the ethnic group. So what is the final result? The result was that during World War II, whenever there was a need to go through life and death for Kiba, it was always their Uchiha Kagami clan who came forward to contribute. So premature death has become a standard feature of their lineage. No matter how powerful you are, if you go to the battlefield, your survival depends entirely on luck. Just like this, there is a good lineage. Now only Yuzhibo stops water, and Yuzhibo brings soil and 2 or 3 kittens. Even the ones who take care of their daily lives are not the people of their lineage, but the elderly and frail Uchiha women who have lost their families in the war and need someone to take care of their affairs, and those who marry out. The entire branch of Uchiha in this lineage is a hurdle at the age of 25, and none of them can survive. And as a traveler, Yukibo-chi knows that in just 1 or 2 years, he will have to downsize. At that time, this lineage could still continue, and we could only hope that they could rely on asexual reproduction. I hope they can also come up with a character who is just as cheating as themselves. Otherwise, during the Chinese New Year and holidays, there won't even be anyone to go to the grave. Do we have to rely on work to make a living in the Pure Land? That would be too pitiful. Thinking of this, Chi is very happy. Living in such a world with extraordinary military strength, it is unreliable to have a prophet who transcends time and rebirth. Even if you know more and have no strength, if you live in a familiar plot, your life or death depends on the preferences of those familiar characters. You think you are familiar with everyone's personality, and when the time comes, you will give them a loud and accurate response, which is purely taken for granted. Do you understand your parents being deceived by your ability to deceive others? If you want to understand this, you will know that in the extraordinary world, prophets are useless. But if you leave this familiar plot environment, then your greatest advantage of time travel is gone. What is the point of time travel? So, it's more reliable to use cheats. Chi's cheats are quite cool, never communicating with Chi, and are completely different from those cute and seductive cheats. Although cheats are not cute at all, they are very useful, and Chi expressed that he likes them very much. The cheat function is very powerful and also very simple, which is to draw cards. The cards drawn are all ninjas with names and surnames in the anime world, living ninjas. These ninjas may not have the same combat power in their original world as in the Hokage world, but their lifelong ninja experience makes them naturally qualified ninjas. With the blessing of Sharingan, they can instantly become qualified ninjas in the Hokage world. That's not to say, Weigui also gives Kai the ability to delegate these ninjas to complete system tasks. Although the task is not at all dangerous, it will only require the delegation of at least 1 purple card, or multiple purple cards, 1 orange card, and so on. But this makes Chi unable to accept many tasks temporarily because he doesn't have an orange card. The tasks are all patrols, daily tasks, etc. Difficulties placed in the task hall of the hidden village will not be accepted. But the rewards are extremely generous. You can earn a large number of points, which can be exchanged for various things. For example, silver, resources, materials, ninjutsu, etc. Therefore, without the support of the clan, Chi Imai survived by exchanging points for resources. The food, drink, and salad of over 200 people are really not a small fraction. But with the task, none of this is a problem for Chi, at least he has accumulated a lot of points now. There are still many high-quality items in the points redemption. However, those high-quality items require not only a lot of points, but also a large number of orange card ninjas to complete orange task points. However, Chi only has purple cards at most, not even an orange card. Therefore, only some low-level tasks can be completed. Unfortunately, this game does not have the function of earning money. Otherwise, by drawing cards and delegating ninjas to do tasks, earning money, and then continuing to draw cards, a perfect loop can be formed. This is a bit too despicable. Therefore, Chi intelligence relies on daily check.in to obtain summoning scrolls, and can basically accumulate 1 round and 10 consecutive draws every month. That means adding 10 more members of the tribe. In this way, Yu Zhibo, an orphan of war, was swept away from the remote corners of the Yuzhi clan. In less than 2 years, this remote corner developed vigorously, forcing Yuzhi Bo to admit their existence, all thanks to the cheat card drawing in Point Redemption. Of course, Yuzhi Boqi also needs to thank the second-generation Hokage Kazuma and the third-generation Hokage Monkey Flying Sun / if not for the basic village policy of Yuzhi Boqi's exclusion established by the second-generation Hokage, as well as the perfect inheritance of the political thinking of the third-generation Hokage. As the new clan leader of Uchiha, Uchiha Fuyue will not face such great pressure. If Fuyue had not faced such great pressure and was not so eager to increase the strength of Uchiha, he would not have easily accepted the inexplicable appearance of dozens of Uchiha clan members. I still remember when I was the first to draw in a row, Chi was still very nervous and even prepared to die or go into exile if I didn't die. Chi feels that regardless of which village suddenly produces dozens of ninjas, it is still a big deal, and the whole village will definitely investigate. But at that time, there was no other way. At that time, Chi was still an ordinary Uchiha who had no eyes, and his strength was just an ordinary endurance. That's the kind of cannon fodder that proficiently masters the 3-body technique and AC.level ninjutsu. Still an orphan after the war. For orphans, survival is always an obstacle. Human nature, even if it has countless shining moments, is born human, and you cannot rely on the brilliance of human nature for hope. Even in a rule of law society, it is not uncommon to see orphan children who have nowhere to rely on, let alone the chaotic world of Hokage. Moreover, most of the property of the Uchiha clan belongs to the public, and if Chi's parents die, they naturally no longer have the right to continue owning the large house. So Kai, like Naruto Vortex in the future, lost his property and, with a few of his parents' belongings, fell into a remote corner of the Uchiha clan, becoming associated with those equally orphaned Uchiha people. At the same time, Yuzhibo Chi's age is relatively older than other orphans, but he is not old enough to support himself. Forced to become a big brother, but lacks the ability to work as a big brother to benefit everyone. This is very uncomfortable. The eldest child, Yukabo Chi, has to take care of several children who are also war orphans living in a remote corner of Yukabo. Not only do they have to find a way to fill the physical exhaustion caused by their growth. That is to fill the stomach. Not only to feed oneself, but also to feed more than a dozen orphans. The so-called half-big kid, eat me to death. This is not an easy task. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. For Days of Orphans. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. 4 Days of Orphans. The days of orphans are not easy to live. Although the Uchiha clan can provide care, it is even difficult to fill their stomachs with that kind of care. At that time, Chi still felt that the noble and noble Zhibo clan, as a wealthy clan, could be so stingy even in taking care of orphans. But later it was discovered that the Uchiha clan had already done well, and those orphans without the ninja clan had suffered even more. Without comparison, there is no harm. At least the Uchiha clan is willing to support orphans, while the children in the village who do not have the ninja tribe can only rely on their own potential. After all, the worldview of this world is that the strong are respected, and the love of Kiba cannot shine on those orphans who cannot provide any nutrients for Kiba. Even if there is illumination, those orphans still have the potential to become nutrients in the future. Just like the legendary spy walking on the witch, pharmacist, and her orphan children. The radiance of human nature shines on witches, but that process and outcome are not what a modern society would like to see. As an orphan in the village, in order to survive, one must have potential. At least a spy who can provide intelligence for the stability of Kiba in the future, and at the worst, a witch is needed. I don't have this potential. Could you please leave the village and go outside to ask for food? After all, Huiying is kind-hearted and cannot see those who suffer. So the dean of the orphanage is a witch, right? The so-called witch is not a witch, there is no magic. To put it higher, it means that believers wash their souls through the bodies of witches. Ah, you're so straightforward, what you can understand should be understood now. After all, the matter of aristocratic lords, talking about prostitution seems too low grade. The nobility believed that witches were the bridge between gods and humans, and through witches, they could communicate with the gods. Of course, only the most beautiful woman can serve the gods. Noble believers are not meant to satisfy their own desires, but to have strong emotions and pray for blessings for all humanity. So in this situation, it's just like dancing with gods, it's a simple ritual of inviting gods. But the divine music dance is asking God to bless the country, and this is asking God to guide individuals in the maze. Therefore, this grand ceremony is naturally expensive. It's still the aristocrats who play high. How well founded this is, that is, they do dirty things but hold high the noble banner. In Chi's view, the walking witch, no matter how tall she may be, is essentially just a flowing warbler. But an orphan in a village needs a flowing warbler to care for. Isn't this a joke? The above is the destination for most orphans in my village. The man becomes a cannon fodder spy to provide intelligence for Kiba, while the woman becomes a witch to earn foreign exchange for Kiba. Let Chi say that it is truly a Japanese manga, with the old traditions of the Little Day family revealed between the lines. It's pitiful to think about it. If it weren't for this wandering warbler, in this society, these orphans might have been living even more miserable. It's not difficult to understand, just look at the days that Naruto, the son of Hokage in the future, lives. With the surname of the Vortex clan, a well-known family, or the son of Hokage's fourth generation, isn't life still tight? Therefore, it is not easy for the Uchiha clan to give their orphans a bite to eat. The village situation is like this, so don't blame it when you see it. Oh, by the way, the Vortex Kingdom of the Vortex clan has been destroyed at this moment. The orphans of the Uchiha clan, except for Chi, are all very grateful. Unfortunately, these cannot calm the restless Chi. Having seen better, naturally unable to tolerate dirty. The saying goes, carrying sharp weapons and killing one's heart will awaken. I am already a traveler with an inexplicable sense of superiority. In such an environment, how can I handle it peacefully? At that time, Chi was not very familiar with cheats, only knowing that the cheat function was to summon people, but inexplicably many more people emerged, which would eventually bring trouble to himself because it was difficult to explain. However, Chi still took what he thought was an imprudent step at the time. Originally, according to Chi's plan, cheats only gave Chi potential. Before converting potential into strength, it is better to be low-key and cautious. So, in the corner where I was driven to the orphanage to survive, I opened the door to cheating and did not immediately explode, but endured it for several months. At that time, Chi thought that he should be careful even though he couldn't explain reasonably where the people he had drawn came from. At least improve your own strength while accumulating enough summoning scrolls. It's not too late to take action when it's enough to protect oneself. However, strength is not easy to improve. Even the talented Uchiha Sasuke needs to seek guidance from a renowned teacher and seek refuge with Orochimaru in order to have sufficient growth. After all, humans are emotional animals. At that time, Yuzhi Boqi looked at the hard-to-swallow mess in the bowl and inexplicably remembered a small incident from his previous life. At that time, I wanted to eat a mouthful of egg cakes in the middle of the night, so I drove around the city to look for people who sold egg cakes at night, which was naturally impossible to find. Kai, a big man, cried out because he didn't eat the egg cake he had been thinking of. I thought to myself, I'm working so hard and being a good person. I just want to eat a mouthful of egg cake. Why didn't I sell it at 2 o'clock in the morning? The world is just too bad. It's all the world's fault. Tired, destroy it, hurry up. Although Chi also felt embarrassed afterwards, he still felt that he was right. It was just that life pressure was too great, and his emotions exploded due to these small things. Now it seems that it is purely a matter of eating and leisure. Sure enough, all the troubles in this world come from eating enough, and before eating enough, there is only one trouble, which is how to eat enough. Looking at this bowl of kitchen waste that he had poured out in his previous life, it was even richer and more mushy. There are also children drooling around the bowl, as well as dozens of summoning rolls lying in the system. Yuzhi Boqi finally couldn't hold his tension anymore. He came across time to eat and drink well, to stand on the top of the fire shadow. Instead of facing a bowl of confusion, one needs to think about whether the children around them are affectionate towards oneself from the bottom of their hearts, or just need their own protection and the ability to share their own confusion. Huaying shouldn't be like this, Muye shouldn't be like this. Go to the hell to suppress suspicion. I just want to eat meat. I just want to live a good life. Whoever doesn't want me to live a good life, I want him to live a jealous life. Burn it, let the world feel my pain, draw this round. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. 05 Many times, we have walked far and wide, but... You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 505 Many times, we have traveled far and wide, but often forget why we set off. So at that moment, Chi disregarded and drew the summoning scroll he had saved for over 6 months at once. As for who has any objections, who wants to know where these Uchiha came from, and how these ninjas entered the village through the seal of Kiba? Is there anyone else besides these Uchiha? I can't manage so many of these things anymore. In short, at that time Chi thought about either killing me or finding a reasonable explanation for himself. I, Yuzhi Boqi, have been acting for a lifetime, so there is no need to explain so much. In the process of questioning and fighting, please make your own choice. He looks as if he cares about the flood after Laozi's death. So, after a flash like a flying thunder god, more than 60 ninjas appeared. 6 purple cards, a dozen blue cards, and the rest are all green cards. Purple card with 3 stripes, blue card with 2 stripes, and green card with just opened eyes. Ba 1 is Goyu. This kind of movement naturally shocked the senior management of the village. But what's intriguing is that things didn't go to the worst. Suspecting things like Lien always makes conspirators feel helpless. Especially, the object of suspicion is an orphan who is not concerned and can be ignored. Before obtaining complete intelligence, all the adults only chose to wait in silence. Now, Chi, who is also in a high position, can understand this matter when he looks back. At that time, the village could not accommodate Yu Zhibo, and as the clan leader, Fuyue lacked the capital to resist. In dozens of distinctive features, at least one stripe of Uchiha appears, regardless of who they are, at least they are Uchiha. Although Fuyue and a few confidants wandered around the vicinity of Chiha and his newly recruited Uchiha for a long time, he still decided to let it go due to his indecisive personality. I didn't even enter the courtyard of Yuzhi Boqi, who was waiting for him at that time. At that time, Fuyue thought that there were only a few dozen people who would eventually come into contact with the clan. Apart from anything else, just clothing, food, housing, and transportation could kill them. Just like daimyo getting stuck in a ninja. So Fuyue first defended them from the prying eyes of the village, and to the outside world, he said it was the tribe members who had been left to retreat. Then, with peace of mind, wait for these people to actively contact their clan leader before making any plans. Of course, Fuyue also has some exaggerated intentions. Damn it, Huaying dares to bully us like this, Yu Zhibo. Isn't it because he sees through our cards and thinks he can pinch our hands? Now, with the sudden emergence of a group of Uchiha, Fuyue believes that Uchiha's life will definitely be very easy during this period. Because of uncertainty, my Fuyue is no longer a Fuyue that has been seen through by the fire shadow. Now I can't see through myself. I don't believe you can see through Huaying. Fuyue was right, Huaying did miss Fuyue for a while because of this. Originally, the 3 generations monkey flying sun slayer thought that it was only a matter of time before the disintegration of Uchiha. Now, the amount of Uchiha's heritage is clear to monkey flying. One of the most powerful combat forces of Uchiha today, Uchiha Jishue, is not only his own people, but even Uchiha Itachi, the son of the clan leader, was rebelled by Jishue. In order to cooperate with the water stop, Monkey Fly even spread the word that the young Uchiha Itachi has the talent of Hokage. A 5-year-old child, how can they see the talent of Hokage? It's not just a matter of Hokage's words. In the eyes of Ape Flying Sun / it is clear about your strength, but it also restricts and suppresses your development, and gives you hope. Such a Uzi wave can still turn the tide. You, Yuzhibo Fuyue, want to drag me to death. I may not have as long a life as your young Fuyue, but in this situation, I believe that the life of your Yuzhibo clan is probably not as long as mine. Without fully understanding the situation, Ape Flying Sun Jean chose to remain silent because he believed that someone would stand out before him. That's Tuanzang. Tuanzang was quite reckless, and a few roots of Shuasha were sent out. These few roots are just trying to bring up this group of Uchiha, even crossing over Fuyue directly. But those who have seen the Hokage know that the so-called root is the dark part of a group of shadows, which few people know except for the high-level and upper ninja. Those who are not registered ninjas themselves, admit that they understand what's going on with them, and deny that they don't even have the power to enforce the law. Especially under the circumstances at that time, Chidu was prepared for a full-scale war. The extracted ninjas are still the leaders of the Iga clan, Huan, and the Kaga clan, Tanzo. 3 or 5 roots, just want to bring them up for review. What's the difference between that and a group of thugs going to rob the armed forces? So that night, the arriving roots finally fulfilled their wish and had a comfortable tree root to bury their dark life. Obviously, Tuanzang overestimated his authority. I thought everyone would give him face in my village. Who dares to start a big war in my village? Unexpectedly, the new group of ninjas were summoned by someone who was willing to wage war in order for orphans to have a meal to eat. One wanted to fight a big war, while the other thought the other was afraid to fight, and the misunderstanding arose. Just like how old gangsters often die tragically in the hands of young adults. Just like how Zhang Haran died tragically at the hands of Zhang Yu. In an instant, Tuanzang felt the disappearance of the seal of tongue curse and understood that there were really people who didn't give themselves face. In a fit of anger, Tuanzang still wanted to take his roots and act recklessly, but when he calmed down, Tuanzang realized that although there were many people with his roots, there were hardly any who could fight. The past misdeeds were all due to the endorsement of the fire shadow. What they gave was not the face of Tuanzang, but the face of Ape Flying Sun / who had the position of Hokage and 3 powerful disciples. There was no other way, Tuanzang had to go and threaten Ape Flying Sun to execute, demanding that Ape Flying punish Yu Zhibo for this. But Ape Fei felt that Tuanzang's action this time was just a test of his own. If Yuzhibo Fuyue was still weak, he could go even further. If he was no longer weak, Tuanzang would just be at fault. Faced with the massive bloodshed that had already been made by the unknown Uchiha, Ape Fei hesitated. Digestion and disintegration of the Uchiha are the key, and fighting is the bottom line. Therefore, the opinions of the two are not unified. Once again, monkeys fly, you will regret it. The conversation, Tuanzang, I am the Hokage, ended this event. Chi was unaware that his actions had dragged the entire Uchiha clan down. In the end, the entire Uchiha and Kiba, regardless of whether they were willing or not, all accepted the fact that Uchiha had a tribe of exiled people who gradually migrated back to Kiba. Even after this matter had settled for a period of time without causing any adverse effects, the lovely Hokage clan had already ignited the concept of the will of fire onto the orphans who followed Uchiha in the beginning. The young Uchiha, who had never felt warmth before, finally basked in the will of fire from Hokage. Hokage visited the entire village of orphans, including those of the Uchiha clan, multiple times in the name of comforting the heroic orphans. Unfortunately, I didn't see Chi. But after all, children are easy to deceive. Chi no longer knows how many of those orphans had their hearts set on Hokage. Chi also understands this very well. Who would say that Hokage is orthodox? Putting oneself in perspective, if one is an ordinary self from a previous life and suddenly is greatly visited, then one's loyalty to the organization will definitely rise to a higher level. But understanding does not mean it is acceptable. Yuzhi Boqi, who had resolutely placed himself in a dangerous situation in order for the orphans to have a hot meal, felt that this was betrayal. It is a betrayal of class. So, even though the dozen or so orphans were classified as the existence of the Qi lineage, they came closer to the Ji Shui lineage. Like a simultaneous interpreting microphone, it always conveys the will of Muye to Yuzhi Boqi. And Qi no longer tries to change the world for the sake of orphans, but cannot stop his own footsteps for the sake of his career. Many times, we go far and wide, but often forget why we set off. In the eyes of outsiders, the newly appointed elder Yuzhi Bo, who is surrounded by stars and moon, is actually a lonely family member who can only associate with the paper man. This makes Chi cry and laugh. Is life always so counterproductive? Chi even developed self-doubt as a result. Is it true that I have a problem with my character? If there were no system to force all the card characters I drew to have clear ideological steel stamps, I would serve Lord Yuzhi Bo. Can these paper people also dislike me? If Chi was an indigenous figure of Hokage, the negation brought by this betrayal alone would be enough to crush Chi's morale, just like how he defeated the powerful wood industry White Fang and Flag Wood Plastic Mao in the past. It has to be said that the method of killing and killing the heart is still a trick played by Huiying. He understands human nature so well. End of this chapter. Chapter 6.06 People with inner bitterness only need a little sweetness to be enough. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6.06 People with inner bitterness only need a little sweetness to be enough. On the commercial street of my, looking at the person in front of me holding 3 colored meatballs and eating with a hazy expression of happiness, Chi was also very happy. Seeing Chi's gaze, Mo hesitated for a moment before finally handing out a string of meatballs in his hand and tentatively asked, "Do adults also want to eat them?" It seemed like she was going to give meatballs to Chi to eat, but in fact, her tone and expression betrayed her, and she had no intention of sharing. Looking at the young girl in front of me who likes to eat alone like a child, Chi felt helpless. "You can eat it, I don't like eating meatballs," he said, coaxing children like an adult. How could anyone not like sweet meatballs? Looking at the unbelievable Hazy, he smiled and indulged in scratching his hair, saying, "Because only those who suffer in their hearts will like sweets." This is even more incomprehensible as it is called Hazy. I'm not suffering at all. I am very happy now. In a few years, I will become the bride of Lord Xianjijia. Is there still such a happy thing in the world? But I didn't know that Chi was not referring to obscure, but to 2 groups of people who blocked Chi and his group on the commercial street, one in front and one behind. In front of them are Orochimaru and Yusho Washed Red Bean, a master-disciple pair. Behind him are the father and son of Uchiha Fuyue and Uchiha Itachi. Both Yusho Zaihongdu and Itachi love to eat tricolor meatballs, but their lives are full of tragedy. Yuzhi Boqi looked at the scene in front of him, where the teacher was virtuous and the son was virtuous, the father was kind and filial, and he couldn't help but sigh as he thought about their future experiences. The sighing expression made Orochimaru, who was facing Kai, feel desolate in his heart. Sure enough, it's not easy for someone to be in a high position at a young age. Does even this child see their awkwardness now? Despite not being forgotten by the village, not many people remember his achievements as a ninja who rose to fame by fighting against the half-god of the ninja world in his childhood and leading Kiba to win World War II on multiple fronts. Nowadays, even the show-like battle between 2 villages is being pursued by everyone. Visible peace makes people forget who brought them peace. I, Orochimaru, a World War II hero from the same civilian background, should be on an equal footing with Bo Feng Shui men. Although I admit that the little ghost has some strength, what qualifications does he have to compare to me in terms of achievements? Since my friend's younger brother and his subordinate Qianshou Xingshu died in front of me, I have become more obsessed with the study of immortality compared to the position of Hokage. But that doesn't mean that Kiba can treat herself like this. Orochimaru's demands are also very simple. Even if Kiba just gives herself a sense of dignity, she can accept the current situation. But even this dignity, Kiba doesn't want to give it to herself. Orochimaru knew that despite having prestige but a gloomy personality, he was not the choice for his teacher, the 3 generations ape flying sun slayer's heart Hokage. Zillai was also the ideal Hokage in the teacher's heart. It can make more and more common ninjas in the village have a stronger sense of identification with the village due to the existence of ninja schools. This will give the cannon fodder the illusion that as long as they work hard for the village, I will be the future successor of the village. What a great future! Monkey Flying Sun Slash has already planned it for everyone. However, before the Hokage could begin to deceive, Zillai, who had already been crippled by the 3 holy places of Miamu Mountain, showed no interest in the Hokage position and placed his hope for peace in the ninja realm on the so-called Son of Fate. This has to force the 3rd generation to choose new targets for cultivation. So, with the same passion, the same common people, the same sunny personality, and the same strength to conquer the crowd, the wave of wind and Watergate fire line rose to power. What Watergate lacks now is achievements, and is this not easy to handle? Isn't it true that each village lacks merit in order for newcomers to rise to power? It would be great if everyone could brush each other off tacitly. This is not a problem. Regarding this, Orochimaru is actually not unacceptable. He can see through it more than Tuanza, who is obsessed with the position of Hokage. Or to put it another way, Orochimaru, who holds a position based on his own achievements and prestige, understands better than the person who grants power through the Hokage of Tanzo that power does not come from top to bottom, but from bottom to top. Your subordinates recognize you as a leader, so you are the leader. If your subordinates do not recognize you as a leader, even if you are in a leadership position, your orders cannot even leave your doorstep. A rootless future Hokage, what if you marry the Whirlpool clan? Isn't there still no one available on hand? What if you become a Huiying? It's just a string puppet in everyone's hands. This may be the difference between Orochimaru and Tanzo. No matter where Orochimaru is, he has enough followers, and without the ninjutsu that controls him, there won't be many people listening to him. So Orochimaru doesn't care about the position of Hokage, but it's absolutely wrong. These damn politicians in the village are going to stir up this fool, Jiraiya. That's just a brainless person who doesn't even know if there is an elder group in his village, a group leader, and the chiefs of various ninja tribes who will push the Bofeng Shui gate to become the Hokage. Who wouldn't want their leader to be a passionate and deceitful fool? The rise of the Bofeng Shui gate is the common aspiration of all forces in the village. But Zillai also got involved, which made Orochimaru very embarrassed. Lunjuan Orochimaru still has a sense of softness in his heart, and his comrade Gangsho and Zillai, who lived and died together with him, also hold a large share of this softness. However, Zillai's actions of walking around with his disciple Bofeng Shui men dealt a sharp blow to the weakness in Orochimaru's heart. Orochimaru also knew that someone had used this fool as a gun again, so he was willing to forgive this fool. However, the person who also used it as a fool made Orochimaru's heart completely cold. The Orochimaru, who was leading the hand-washing red beans with his hands, had a lot of thought and even hindered Uchiha's path due to his gaze. And Chi not only has his own guards around him, but also those scattered subordinates. Although they also belong to the Uchiha guard, they have their own completely different black uniforms, with the 3 big characters, True Selection Team, written on their armbands. At this moment, when they see their own adults surrounded by people from front to back, regardless of the reason or whether one of them is their own clan leader, they cannot sit idly by. So, a large number of black shadows appeared on the walls of the commercial street. The real selection team has seized the high ground, even with their thumbs misaligned and their ribs misaligned. always prepared for conflict. There's no way, who calls their own adults too reckless. Always clamoring at the clan meeting, if my cannot give Yu Zhibo justice, then fight, fight to the death, fight big and special, and show Yu Zhibo's authority in one battle. Having such adults forces everyone to always be prepared for battle. However, they really thought too much, and Chi didn't have the belief to work hard for Uchiha. He was just catering to the attitude of Uchiha's people. Before clarifying how in the future, with the help of a Uchiha Itachi and a possible or non-existent Uchiha Belt Earth, all the war rhetoric that led to the extinction of over 1,000 Uchiha clans was just verbal intimidation. So, don't look at what people say, look at what they do. Nowadays, everyone is full of idealism and their heart is full of business. But who dares to take Chi's intimidation seriously? Just like now, no one knows what the real situation is. Not only did the true selection team under Chi become nervous. The subordinates of Orochimaru also became vigilant on the periphery and even drove out the dark forces who had arrived. The once bustling commercial street, even the bustling wooden leaves, immediately began to rustle. No one was in a happy mood until they had a clear purpose for meeting today. And all of this is just because Yuzhi Boqi's guard, M.O., loves to eat meatballs, and at the same time, he meets the big snake meatball who comes to buy meatballs with his disciples. End of this chapter. Chapter 707. The Life of Su Mao, Disregarded. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 707. The Life of Su Mao, Disregarded. If there is no further movement, Yuzhi Boqi feels that the direction of the matter may not be based on personal will. Just as no one expected back then, a Serbian young man shot and killed tens of millions of people in Sarajevo. Chi, who has a strong face and a timid heart, must not let such a thing happen. So, the eye contact with Orochimaru, who was staring at each other, finally came to an end, and in the end, Kai spoke up first. Don't be safe, Mr. Orochimaru. Upon hearing Yuzhi Boqi's words, Orochimaru squinted his eyes more and more like snake pupils. Although he did not meet with Yuzhi Boqi many times, his subordinates would also regularly collect intelligence for him. However, he knew that Sannin, who was called adults by the ninjas in the village, had no respect here. It doesn't matter if Lord Zilai is here, it's just about enduring Zilai. Gangsho is just Gangsho Ji. And even if it's just a respected Ji, she doesn't give face to Gangsho, but to the Qiansho clan. But he was willing to call himself Sir, and this simple title made Orochimaru think a lot. There are still people who haven't forgotten my contributions to my proud Orochimaru is clearly unable to control public opinion, and nowadays, Kiba's public opinion direction is indeed not on Orochimaru's side. Even though Orochimaru doesn't really care, who wants to be on the side of being misunderstood. Having fought against Shan Jiao Yuban Sung, commanding the battles of Muye Village and Sharan, and helping teacher Ape Fei fight against Yi Mu. Such a record needs to be compared to a newcomer. If it were anyone, everyone would be unhappy. Although Orochimaru is a high-level member of Konoha and also a disciple of Ape Flying. Compared to ordinary people, they understand more about the activities involved. For example, the original benchmark for this newcomer was Muye Village. A shining Konoha and a white-toothed Konoha are the next generation of supernovae after Konoha Sannin, proving that Konoha has a successor. This political benchmark was originally well established. But unfortunately, no one expected that people with strong abilities may not necessarily have strong psychology. Who says that a capable person must have a good mentality? This kind of thinking is just a brain teaser for incompetent people. Talent is always more important than hard work. Just like the wooden leaf white tooth flag and the wooden plastic Mao casually practice and hang the wooden leaf, most of whom fight against those who have risen to power in life or death. But the people of my feel that such a powerful person must also be as strong as mountains in their hearts. So, for the sake of so-called balance, the society cannot allow one person to dominate. One person in Gemini needs time to develop, so the other person needs to be suppressed. Tuanzang believes that such a powerful person, who is not under my control, will regret it in the future and must be suppressed. Other people, including Orochimaru himself, are even more innocent, just ordinary people's jealousy of genius. You can easily get it, but we really need to work hard to get it. Anyone would feel unhappy in their heart. It's not illegal to gossip about you behind your back. At first, everyone may not have a deep malice in their hearts. It's just jealousy towards geniuses. So in that year of 44 years, something that everyone was willing to see finally happened. A ninja as powerful as his, finally has a record of failure. This person actually gave up the mission for the safety of his subordinates. A perfect person finally has flaws. This became a topic that everyone talked about in a certain year. Looking back now, Orochimaru has a different feeling. Back then, no matter how dangerous the mission was, Su Mao was able to ensure his subordinates' safety. Such a record was something even I couldn't achieve. Thinking of Shimoki Tsuyoshi, I couldn't help but think of the death of my former subordinate, Kato Duan. Orochimaru deeply understands that no matter how powerful or cruel the enemy praises him. But compared to Chimu Shu Mao, I am clearly inferior. I can only bring death to the enemy, but that man can avoid death for his teammates. That year, everyone miscalculated one thing. An enemy took a powerful ninja he had no choice but to be killed by everyone in a few words. Su Mao is just a gentle person. So, the entire Wooden Leaf was embarrassed. The political benchmark of the village has just died. Still dying by suicide. Suicide forced by rumors. What kind of immortal operation is this? Qiandai and Hai Laozang, consultants of Shiyin village in Fengziguo, silently gave a thumbs up to the villagers of Mai. At first, no one believed it, but after it was confirmed to be true, they began to accept this reality and felt guilty in their hearts. But this guilt quickly turned into resentment. After all, no one will admit that they are wrong. If everyone is at fault in this matter, then everyone will quickly attribute the mistake to what caused everyone to make a mistake. The saying goes, big things hold small meetings, small things hold big meetings. At the high-level small meeting of several people in Kiba, Kiba village chief and monkey flying sun / made it clear. The impact of this matter is too negative. No matter what, we need to divert the public's attention and not allow malicious individuals or external forces to take advantage of it. Now is not the time to investigate who is right or wrong, but the issue of eliminating influence. Kiba needs a new benchmark. Orochimaru, this matter will be unfair to you. You will replace Kiba's position as White Fang, lift up a new person, let the people no longer investigate, and let outsiders know Kiba's heritage. A shadow-level combat power can still be lost. Originally, Yuan Fei felt that this matter was very difficult to operate. We have made various contingency plans that the ninjas in Kiba village do not accept, and we have also made various contingency plans to appease the Kiki clan. But I didn't expect that after many years, everyone from top to bottom of the tree had once again united as one. The ninjas of Kiba, either feeling guilty and hesitant to face it, or feeling angry and ashamed, all feel that it is the fault of Katsuragi's weakness. Coupled with the intentional guidance of Kiba's senior management, they all choose to ignore this matter. The only people who face this matter seriously are the Chimu tribe, but now this little ninja tribe can only fight a child and cannot cause any trouble. The Chimu family quickly disappeared from the village, and new legends captured everyone's view. I heard that a new powerful ninja has appeared in the village, just like Lord Orochimaru. The golden shimmer of wood leaves. It has been certified by other ninja villages, and when encountering a presence that can give up the task. What, are you saying this is not a treatment for white teeth? Don't talk nonsense, that's just a coward. How could he receive such treatment? This person doesn't even exist in the village. This matter has been casually portrayed in the past. White Fang no longer has a legend. Only Orochimaru is the only one who has been wronged. Bo Feng Shui Gate, he is actually a lucky person. He didn't do anything and his reputation was already at its peak. Looking at the noisy wooden leaves, Orochimaru's heart was filled with memories of the past. But obviously, this is Orochimaru overthinking. Chi's respect for Orochimaru is simply due to his reverence for science, so he respects scientists. Even if he knew Orochimaru's thoughts, Kai wouldn't take them seriously. What is the relationship between Mai's past troubles and Laozi? Moreover, a noble character, loyal believer, and powerful Konoha ninja, in the eyes of Uchiha Hakata, such an existence is only good when dead. When Sannin runs away and Shueimen also dies, that is the good era of enlightenment. Chi has a clear distinction between who is his own person and who is an outsider. A great ninja who cannot wear the same pants as me, let me praise him after he dies. Just like if Ape Flying Sun / were willing to die now, Uchiha Haki would surely highly praise his decades of rule over Kiba at his funeral. Unexpectedly, this young thief doesn't want to die, and sooner or later, heaven will punish him. But no matter what, at this moment, Uchiha's respect also gained the goodwill of Orochimaru. Yeah, long time no see, Chijuin. The bosses of the two groups showed goodwill towards each other, and the atmosphere of silence around them immediately relaxed. But the third generation eyes observed with the technique of the 1,000-mile eye became even more nervous. A pleasant atmosphere leads to a better conversation. Mr. Orochimaru, is this taking his disciples to go shopping? Having received the goodwill of Orochimaru, Uchiha Ki hoped to push the atmosphere forward. This was just a casual conversation. Yes, red beans, you're still greedy like a child. It makes Chijuin laugh. This kind of evaluation clearly makes Red Bean very dissatisfied, but unfortunately, adults cannot speak and children cannot interrupt. Red Bean could only mutter and look at Yuzhi Boqi, who was not much older than her, dissatisfied. This dissatisfaction is only taken seriously by herself. Because children's emotions cannot influence false friendships between adults. But she looked at the reckless and willful hand washing red beans in front of him, and felt a little anxious again. This is the downside of having a forward-looking eye. Poor little red bean, all your stubbornness and tolerance towards others at the moment are due to you being a disciple of Orochimaru. When one day you no longer enjoy these things, you may have to sell more in order to survive. You must not fall to that level yourself. Mr. Orochimaru laughed and said, it's not the original intention of Kiba's establishment to prevent children from going to war and have a happy childhood like a child. We also want to thank Mr. Orochimaru for bringing peace to Kiba during World War II. This kind of praise satisfies Orochimaru very much. Upon hearing Chi's compliment, Orochimaru was about to respond politely when Fuyue, who was holding a weasel, hurried up. Indeed, nowadays Uchiha is increasingly ignoring the clan leader. Hey! If the mountain doesn't come, I recommend myself. I can't do anything. Everything is for Uchiha. Fuyue, who stepped forward quickly, didn't expect Chi to give his entrance a round off, and didn't wait for anyone to greet him. I've met Mr. Orochimaru again, he said on his own, facing the head of the Uchiha clan with a low posture. Orochimaru could only shift his attention away from Uchiha Kai, who he was very interested in. Yes, Chief Fuyue, we have met again. As he spoke, he looked towards Uchiha Itachi, whose face was marked with tears. Although he was still a child, he looked like an adult. Oh, this is the Itachi who was born with the Hokage mind. He's really a genius. This groundless praise is also a political task given by teacher Ape Fei, with some speculations about what the purpose of Orochimaru is. It's just a bearish promise. A vague promise can appease the Uchiha clan now, but whether it can be fulfilled in the future depends on how Uchiha is willing to pay. For Orochimaru, whether it's successful or not is not harmful to oneself. Talking about it casually and forming a good relationship is also good. Who could really take this promise seriously? Now Orochimaru can see that these dirty and ruthless political players are always what you think, they just follow the trend. Upon hearing what Orochimaru said, Fuyue was very proud. After all, he was just a novice parent, especially those with power who did not know what the psychological health of a child's growth was. Fuyue quickly shirked his responsibility and said, "Where and where? Mr. Orochimaru has been praised too much. After all, he is still a child and lacks an excellent teacher to teach him." Fuyue's attitude was expressed very clearly. He hoped that his excellent son Itachi could become a disciple of Orochimaru, but obviously Orochimaru did not accept such a message. Yeah, always give children some time to grow up. This sentence is neither affirmative nor negative. It is not only an affirmation of Fuyue, but also can be understood as Orochimaru's concern about the arrival of war. In the eyes of onlookers, the meaning is actually very clear. No direct affirmation is negation. The so-called fan of the situation is because the authorities already have certain expectations when facing things, even if there is only 1 in 10,000 chance, they will find reasons to make themselves 100% believe that there is still hope. Didn't Orochimaru also explicitly refuse? Fuyue wanted to continue his entanglement with Orochimaru, but to his surprise, a painless stick stuck on the ground. After a flash of light, the golden glow of the wooden leaf appeared. "Hi, Lord Orochimaru and Lord Fuyue, you're all here. The little lightning of my always carries passion, and with his innate affinity, he seems to make no one feel any evil, whether it's enemies or friends. This is called personality charm." End of this chapter. Chapter 8. 08 The People Who Illuminate People's Hearts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 808 The People Who Illuminate People's Hearts. Some words from our ancestors require understanding the underlying logic in order to understand their meaning. For example, the saying, "one cannot judge by appearance," actually means that most of the time, people need appearance, and not judging by appearance is only a small probability event. With the arrival of the golden shimmering wave of the wooden leaf feng shui gate, Uchiha Fuyue and Orochimaru ended their vague and unproductive conversation. Everyone's gaze was drawn to the person in front of them. Although he is in different camps, Yuzhi Boqi also has to admit that if success in this world requires luck, then feng shui men should naturally be favored by lucky men. The young man in front of me has a cheerful appearance, a kind smile, and an extraordinary spatial ninjutsu. This kind of man, no matter where he is like a firefly in the pitch black, so vivid and outstanding. This is the so-called personality charm. Similarly, Shuemen was indeed at a shining moment in life. She got married and married the daughter of a former daimyo in the kingdom of Vortex, the princess of the Vortex clan. Now, with a fruitful career, she is on par with one of the 3 ninjas, Orochimaru, and it is not without success. The confidence that success brings to men makes their charm even more dazzling. Lord Fuyue, Lord Orochimaru, you are all here. After the flash, the feng shui door opened first. Although it was just a simple greeting, speaking through his mouth was like a gentle ray of sunshine on a rainy summer day, making people feel comfortable. This sentence has made Fuyue become a supporting role and become more marginalized. Looking at the man in front of him, Yuzhi Bo could see the light shining in the eyes of Yuzhi Bo Fuyue and Yuzhi Bo Itachi with the back of his head. Is there anything more perfect than a future Hokage that respects Uchiha? What, you said he just politely greeted the clan leader of Uchiha? This is much stronger than what many other people with wooden leaves have done. At least Fuyue is very satisfied. 4 highs and 1 interior. Although this courtesy is only applicable to one person. But even so, Yuzhi Boqi, who was not treated politely, felt that the phrase, "the 3 senses follow the 5 senses," was too scary. What more terrifying form of ninjutsu is there? Even though I have been overlooked, yet I have no sense of disgust towards the life in front of me. I don't even have any thoughts of being ignored and wanting to argue. This is not right. Damn hero complex, how could I not even know a person's life, just so certain of them? What's the difference between admiring Li Yunlong like this without knowing his life? It is historical nihilism. Forget it, don't go online here. Hey. Neglected, let it be ignored. A real world is not like the harem world that people imagine. Whoever wins by playing tricks is the winner of harem battles. And the hero is no different. He only has the courage to become a noble person when there is a chance to shine in life, and there is no need to impose morality on him. Is it also good to show yourself the means to stand out as a commoner in the face of a real wave of wind and water? So in the real world, the verbal struggle in political struggle is just a precursor to actual action. Often both the verbal gains and losses have achieved their goals. Chi can believe that his encounter with Orochimaru was a chance encounter, but he never believes that the arrival of Bofengshui Gate was a coincidence. Since he has a purpose, let's take a look at what this invincible existence that everyone talks about is really like. Let him be handsome and see what his handsome ideas are today. Yuzhi Boqi restrained his momentum and made himself as transparent as possible, wanting to see the purpose of this man's arrival. Although the senior management of Huiying treated this kind and handsome man like a passionate fool, Chi never underestimated any opponent. Weakness and ignorance are not obstacles to survival, arrogance is. No matter how much you look down on someone, if they are qualified to talk to you, it means that you are actually similar. Just like the people you admire and look up to, you never have the opportunity to talk to them. Can this be considered dialectics of things? Obviously, today, although Chi feels qualified to have a conversation with Bofeng Shui men, others do not think so. Perhaps in the eyes of others, I am the same existence as Uchiha Itachi, just a future noble person of the young Uchiha family. As for why Bofeng Shui men have such a perception, that is not what Chi is concerned about. Now Chi wants to see how this shining young star can be showcased in today's political show prepared for him. Whether or not to meet Yuzhibo Fuyue in such an occasion is within the scope of this carnival depends on the words and actions of Shui men. Thinking about this method seems very familiar, just like playing house when you were a child, and everyone isolated you but went to compliment another person. When the person being complimented reveals a hint of kindness to you, you will immediately become a loyal member of that kind-hearted person and start the next act of isolating others and praising kindness. I don't know if the scene before me is such a family game. After calmly accepting the fact that he was just an optional person on the scene, Chi began to enter an invisible state. And originally, I was still pondering whether it was for the sake of Zelaya's face. With the help of Labo Feng Shui Gate, Deshimaru clearly discovered something more interesting. The words that were originally meant to introduce both sides turned into ordinary greetings. Oh. It's Watergate, is this just coming down from the battlefield? Yes, Lord Orochimaru. He said hard, but his behavior was full of enthusiasm. At this moment it was already the protagonist of the village's carnival, and a large number of ninjas returning from the front line began to gather around. Watching the actions of the adults who led them to victory, everyone couldn't help but get a shot of stimulant in their hearts. Everyone believes that following such a character, although victory may be difficult, it is still within reach. You've worked hard this time. Fuyue also hurriedly offered a compliment, looking at the tired Yukibo people who came down from the battlefield. Fuyue's gratitude was for them. No, I'm not working hard. Those ninjas on the front line are working hard. I just provided support to the best of my ability, but the situation on the front line is not optimistic. Lord Orochimaru and Lord Toyo, the front line needs everyone's strength. Seeing Fuyue speak, Shui men spoke out his demands directly, speaking without any obstruction. This makes people like Chi, who have a dark mentality, very uncomfortable. Chi feels that Watergate's request is a bit excessive. You appeared inexplicably, making a request after just a few pleasantries. How could you just take it for granted? Perhaps my heart is filled with filth, but if I were to make such a request, I would definitely beat around the bush, exchange benefits, and achieve my goal. However, the Feng Shui Gate takes it for granted. Is this the legendary fearlessness of the Grand Duke? This is nothing. Who knew that Yuzhibo Fuyue was extremely excited by this sentence? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. 09 Heresy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 909 Heresy. Yuzhi Bo Fuyue seemed to have been waiting for this voice for a long time, and at this moment, his tone was a bit choked up. The Uchiha clan is willing to go through fire and water for this. If necessary, I am willing to personally go to the battlefield. I didn't understand for a moment what happened to Fuyue. But then, Orochimaru dispelled Toyotomi's excitement. Oh, Shuemen has just returned. You haven't congratulated Lord Fuyue yet. Recently, he has found dozens of clan members again. Just because Kai doesn't understand doesn't mean Orochimaru doesn't understand. Although the Uchiha clan also participated in the war, they were dispersed and incorporated into various fronts. But if Fuyue's position as a clan leader goes up to the front line, he must be a local official. This is something that the Hokage faction doesn't want to see. Sorry, it's impolite. Congratulations to Lord Fuyue for recovering the lost clan members. I believe with their participation on the front line, the war in Mai will surely be unstoppable. I don't know if Shuemen understood, but he still made a request to Fuyue to support the front line. With the intervention of Orochimaru, Fuyue seemed to finally remember something, somewhat disappointed. When Watergate made the request, Fuyue didn't have time to think much. He only saw an opportunity for Uchiha to return to the top management. Being able to intimidate one side and obtain military achievements, Yu Zhibo will regain the voice of Mai. But at the moment when Orochimaru spoke, Fuyue remembered that the Watergate in front of him was just a possible fire shadow for the future, and what he said didn't count. But the prolonged suppression made Fuyue crave too much. What if Watergate represents the sincerity of Hokage? Perhaps the front line is really tense, to the point where Kiba needs to huddle with Uchiha for warmth. After all, this is not the era of the first generation. So Fuyue decided not to refuse Watergate's request. As long as Muye needs it, Yu Zhibo is willing to spare no effort. Received a positive answer from Fuyue, and Shuemen was very satisfied. Regardless of whether today was just an entertainment occasion, he even pulled out a map and said frankly. Lord Fuyue, I hope Uchiha can support 100 to 200 ninjas and head to the front line of the Water Kingdom. The Uchiha clan's water stop is there, and the situation there is becoming increasingly tense. Fuyue really cooperated with careful observation, and his behavior showed caution towards this battle. The invitation from Shuemen is a serious request, while Fuyue's cooperation is indeed being considered in secret. Think about whether you have the opportunity to lead the crowd to the front line, and consider where to express Yu Zhibo's hard work in this effort. Only Orochimaru and Kai smiled as they looked at each other. Orochimaru knew that Shuemen's words were incalculable, while Uchiha Hikari knew that Fukuwa could not gather 100 or 200 ninjas on his own to serve as a frontline warrior for Kiba. Watching these two people, who had no effect on the direction of the war, discussing the future of the war seriously in public, both Kai and Orochimaru couldn't bear to disturb them. Orochimaru and Kai were even too lazy to listen to what Shuemen and Fuyue were discussing. Time was only a few minutes, and neither Orochimaru nor Ki felt too embarrassed to say goodbye. They could only shift their interest to Kanabu and Red Bean to compete and eat meatballs. And the little ghost Yukabo Itachi looked enviously at Meatballs, eager to join his father's discussion again and again. Appearing very conflicted. Finally, this awkwardness has come to an end. Lord Fuyue, the front line is up to your people. Don't worry, Lord Shuemen. The two seem to have finally reached an agreement. Immediately afterwards, Fuyue's expression became majestic. Chijuan, let your people rush to the front line of the Water Kingdom. Ask them to obey the command of the Water Stopper. Water Stopper needs your help. This sentence almost made Chi laugh. What a ghost, how to discuss and discuss, but this matter falls on my own head. How much is it given? If he had those 3 or 2 orange cards in his hand, Chi Tiling and Fuyue would argue, but unfortunately he didn't, so Chi decided to gently remind Fuyue. Sir, times have changed, and I don't need to listen to you. Chi took this statement for granted. But many people present don't think so. Including those ninjas who came down from the battlefield. How can we raise money to defend the village? If we make achievements in battle, we will receive corresponding task completion rates, and then through task promotion, we can become higher level ninjas and earn more money. The village has already provided you with a promotion platform, why do you start asking for money before you even go to the battlefield? Chi Juan, what are you saying? Have you forgotten about the system of Muye? The scene was a bit awkward for a moment. Fuyue only regards this as the innocence of an immature child. Indeed, there is no need to let such an immature person be in a high position. It seems that he needs to have direct contact with that Uchiha bullet. That mature and stable person is the backbone of the Uchiha clan. Yuzhi Bo Fuyue thought of it. But Kuchi didn't take it seriously. The system of Konoha. I'm afraid you've forgotten, what kind of thing is a ninja? The art of conversation is like this. Don't dwell on what the other person is saying, bring them into your familiar language environment. When they talk to you about the system, you talk to them about inheritance. For a moment, everyone didn't quite understand what Chi meant. But Chi Jian had no response and began his own speech. Ninjas, they are just powerful tools. They are still tools of war. Language should be assisted by expressions and actions, speaking while moving forward and gently lifting one's head, as if explaining to Fuyue, but it is meant to be heard by everyone. In the beginning, the birth of ninjas shattered many obstacles, one of which was that powerful and unproductive ninjas naturally occupied a large amount of social resources. However, this kind of encroachment was not the same as that of nobility, which was clearly a distribution of daimyo's rights. As a result, ninjas became unstable elements in daimyo's eyes. Gently turning his back on his hands, looking up at the sky, his eyes filled with memories of the past. Yuzhi Boqi seems to be telling a story unrelated to himself, but this story is of great interest to a group of ninjas who learn martial arts but not literature. Because no one has ever told them how ninjas came about. In that era, in order to limit the development of ninjas, daimyo did everything in their power. They used emotions as a constraint, preventing ninjas from acting recklessly, and offered some sweet treats, keeping ninjas constantly in a state of fighting and having no time to stop and think about why they actually existed. This is the chaotic era, the so-called Warring States period. A gentle breeze blew past, bringing everyone in. At this moment, everyone's heart seems to have raised their own Warring States period. Without any disturbance, Chi spoke slowly again. Time has passed for so long, but no one has really thought about why the ninja battles based on families are limited to the ninjas themselves. They only affect ordinary people, but never target them. Who instilled in us the belief that ninjas cannot harm ordinary people? Could you please let me know? Originally, it was just a command from Fuyue, hoping to give Chi, a newly appointed member of the clan, the opportunity to lead Yu Zhibo to make achievements on the battlefield and provide more opportunities for promotion for the clan. But now it has become Uchiha's pursuit of everyone. Absurd and noble ninjas naturally disdain bullying the weak, which is despised by others. Right. That is, the weak wield their swords towards the weak, while the strong wield their swords towards the stronger. This is the ninja's way of endurance. With Chi's questioning, various grand and elegant answers followed one after another. Seems like only Chi is a villain. And Chi responded with a smile. But the starting point of the long-lasting Warring States period was for survival, and shouldn't survival be the ultimate goal? Chi once again raised doubts. Impossible. We are the guardians of the Fire Kingdom, noble ninjas, and cannot engage in such despicable behavior. At this moment, the rebuttal remained, but there was also a lot of silence. The older a person gets, the more silent they become. Chi understands that standing on the moral high ground has a voice, while immoral people dare not speak up for their selfishness. Keki doesn't care, he just wants to understand why ninjas live. But who established these moral constraints? Under the premise of racial continuity, nothing is impossible, right? People must always live on. It's despicable of you to do this. Yeah, we're not in any era right now. Chi shook his head slightly and said, we have never been in a peaceful era, but rather the ninjas huddled together to keep warm and fight for a brief peace for everyone. The wandering ninjas and rebellious ninjas in the ninja world still do what you think they despise. And they are just trying to survive. So those wandering ninjas and rebellious ninjas deserve to die. Chi smiled. He didn't speak to make ninjas harmonious, he came to spread rebellious thoughts. Whoever likes to refute will refute, he just wants more people to remain silent. I'm not talking to you about morality, I'm just telling you what the war between ninjas is for. A chance encounter between big shots turned into a conversation between myself and those ninja houses who came down from the battlefield but didn't know why they were fighting. Of course it's to protect the leaves of wood. Protecting the land of fire. But why do we need to protect the fire country? Because that's our motherland. The big and empty ideal once again floated over the sky of Kiba, and Kiba's ninjas seemed to be trying to convince Kai of this heresy. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Kill a Woodleaf Man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Kill a Woodleaf Man. The forgetting and fallacy of history is a necessary condition for a social group to emerge. This is a scientifically objective but highly unreasonable fact. Unfortunately, the ninjas in Kiba village rarely have a well-established education system. So the ninjas who put in labor or even life at the bottom rarely understand this truth, and those who understand this truth are even less likely to promote it to the ninjas at the bottom. Looking at the excited and irritable villagers of Ninkun, Chi became even more calm. This calmness comes from cultural confidence, as he knows that his biggest advantage over time is cheating, and his greatest ability is not just martial arts, but culture. He was too clear about the cultural worship of the illiterate people in Chu. Otherwise, why did the gentry and Shaoxing masters in feudal society always overthrow the mud-legged people who established a new order after social stability, and initiate a silent restoration? Not to mention the ninjas who have never studied history at all, even the world marketing accounts with 9-year compulsory education still have such superior living space. This is human nature, the thirst for knowledge. Of course, another natural laziness in humans makes them lazy to learn knowledge. This also gives people the characteristic of superstitious authority. And Chi, today, is about to become an authority. The villagers in front of me, became even more restless due to Chi's words. Yuzhi Bo became even more uneasy, and he even had the idea of whether to abandon the car and protect the commander in his heart. The Uchiha clan has long controlled the position of the Kiba Security Department, which is naturally opposed to the ordinary villagers of Kiba. Its nature is similar to that of urban management and vendors. Without official endorsement, the sharpness of the problem becomes more irreconcilable. In front of them, as soon as they stepped down from the battlefield, the ninjas bearing the title of Konoha hero clearly had a strong sense of identification with Konoha. Behind them were so many ordinary Konoha villagers who were watching them, and another member of Konoha's recognized villainous family was speaking out loud. If we don't do something about it, it seems a bit disrespectful to the title of hero. The reason why they didn't do anything was not because they were afraid of the guards around Uchiha, but because they respected them and didn't want any bloody conflicts to occur in the village. Yes, that's it. Although we cannot publicly kill Yuzhi Boqi, we must not easily let go of this petty person, who is full of false promises to avoid going to the battlefield. Yuzhi Bo knew that if his emotions continued to escalate, things might not end. He regretted why he had to publicly explain things like Yuzhi Boqi. I originally planned to use my authority as the clan leader to publicly force Uchiha Chi to agree to lead his tribe to the battlefield and achieve a considerable victory for the Uchiha family. This can give Uchiha Chi the opportunity to make significant contributions and once again launch a new member in Kiba who is both Uchiha and not Uchiha's clan leader. Yu Zhibo can accept it, and Huiying can also accept it. After all, with the lesson of stopping water, Huiying has no reason to oppose this matter. If it weren't for the fact that Jishue was too inclined towards the Hokage series, Uchiha Fuyue wouldn't have wanted to introduce another newcomer. For Yuzhi Boqi, this is also a good thing, but unfortunately, he doesn't think so. Children's actions are indeed unreliable. This young man cannot understand the spirit of leadership at all. Sure enough, the Uchiha bullet is still more mature and dignified. Yuzhi Bo Fuyue once again remembered the subordinate of Yuzhi Boqi, who helped him manage family affairs in an orderly manner, always able to understand Yuzhi Boqi's thoughts and assist him in identifying and filling gaps. This made Yuzhi Bo Fuyue full of jealousy. His subordinates were united and each was capable. Looking at his own subordinates, they were either old and stubborn who still believed in Yuzhi Boban's style, or the 2 and 5 suns shining under the sunshine of the will of fire. However, my subjects are not my subjects, and the capable subordinates of Yuzhibo Chi can never become the capable subordinates of Yuzhibo Fuyue. Humph, sooner or later, push the bullet to the top position. We can't let Chi, this child, play around in a high position. Chi's behavior today is too disappointing in the eyes of Fuyue. Even if the behavior of going to the battlefield today was proposed by Fuyue, if one of them is not handled well today, the label of fear of war will definitely be placed on the head of the Uchiha clan. At that time, the Uchiha clan had to send more ninjas, and all they received was to wash away the shameful hat of Uchiha clan's fear of war. This is not what Fuyue wants to see. But when Fuyue was about to reprimand Yuzhi Boqi, pinning the title of Terror War onto him personally, and then forcing Yuzhi Boqi and his team to fight, Chi spoke up first. The emotions of Konoha's ninjas and villagers have been heightened by his behavior of asking for money. But at this moment, it is the best time to defeat a person. Killing a person is the last resort, and the most effective method is to instill self-doubt in their beliefs. Oh, you love the Fire Country so much, has the Fire Country ever loved you? In just one sentence, the blood pressure of the villagers in my suddenly rose to the naked eye, and a thought of resentment surged from the heart to the top of their heads. Even the common ninjas in my village in the front row could hardly hold their breath and were about to launch an attack on Yuzhibo. When unable to use force to destroy the rebellious humanity of Uchiha, the civilian ninjas in the group urgently needed to provide evidence to refute Uchiha Kai. When people are angry, it is difficult to think rationally. Of course, it is also possible that there is no evidence that the Fire Country also loves the villagers of Mai. In an instant, everyone was speechless. How could the Fire Kingdom not love us? Or, to put it another way, how can we prove that the Kingdom of Fire also loves the leaves of wood? Everyone's heart is filled with this question. The masses who had just stood on the moral high ground and angrily rebuked Yuzhi Boqi didn't know how to answer for a moment. And the contemptuous smile became even more apparent on Uchiha's face. One person makes a group of people doubt themselves, which is the establishment of authority. Chi shook his head gently and sighed, "You guys, you haven't even figured out the relationship between the Fire Kingdom and the Woodleaf, so you're here to talk about love with me. Did ignorance give you the courage to be fearless of death? With the superiority of knowledge, the sense of superiority of travelers, and the contempt of the big family towards the common people." Standing on the flat ground, Uchiha Kai even gave the ninjas who stood on the wall watching the excitement a feeling of looking down. Naive. End of this chapter.